So you've lost your hunger as a business owner. Well, I can completely relate to that. And if that is you, then stick around with me for 10-15 minutes because this video could change your life. And please don't click off onto the next video and don't do anything. Pay full attention to this video. Now, back in 2019, 2020, I had a business and I was running Facebook ads for e-commerce companies, although it's kind of irrelevant, right? And I started that off with all the motivation in the world, right? I had all the motivation. I was excited. I would wake up out of my bed. I would take advantage of all the leads. I would get down to business. But over time, call it death by 1,000 cuts, I completely lost my fire and my hunger, right? And on paper, someone would think that's crazy because there was some clients that are paying me good money. So other people would think that how I felt was absolutely crazy. But no one tells you that the more your business grows, the more you can lose your hunger, right? And it was weird because I was in a position that I'd always wanted to be in, right? Running my own business, making money, it was great. I could work from home, it was fantastic. But no one ever told me that when I got what I thought I wanted, that I would lose my fulfillment and my fire. And it's sort of a weird paradox that lots of people go through, including all of my clients, right? So if you feel that way, you're not alone. What did I try and do to fix this, right? Well, first of all, I avoided the problem for a long time. Right, I was procrastinating, I was using unhealthy coping mechanisms. I became a self-sabotager in all sort of ways possible. And that's as a result of losing my fire, right? Because when I had that fire, the procrastination and the unhealthy coping mechanisms weren't even a thought in my mind. But as I lost the fire, these things sort of came to the surface and that's how I started acting. And even in my own head, I would tell myself, I want to make more money, I want to grow my business, I want new clients, blah, all this stuff. And the conscious part of my brain, but I wasn't acting like it at all. In fact, I was actually acting in the opposite manner. Now, I searched the internet, I bought loads of books, I listened to lots of podcasts, and I'm not saying they didn't help me, but it was as if I was searching for some magic bullet for all of my issues, right? For the fact that I felt numb. I was looking for all these answers online like a quick fix, and I never got them. And I realised that while I was searching for these things, all I was doing was procrastinating on the real things that mattered. I was no longer doing the things that mattered in my business, right? I wasn't doing client outreach, I wasn't doing marketing. I was just stuck with busy work all day, right? And it might have got to the end of the day and I thought, oh, I've had a busy day, but I was avoiding the real problems, right? It even got to a point where I wouldn't be sending invoices on time for work that I'd already done. I wouldn't send invoices for new clients that had signed up. I would just leave it there for weeks. And that sounds crazy. But I got to a point where I wasn't even after the money anymore. I wasn't sending the invoices to be paid for my work. And that, again, to other people might sound crazy. But if you are a business owner that's self-sabotaging, then you probably know exactly what I mean. So I was looking for all this motivation elsewhere. But it wasn't motivation that got me started on this journey. It was just a little bit of honesty. And in this video today, I'm not here to hype you up. I'm not here to give you motivation, right? And look, if you get a little bit of motivation to start, that's absolutely cool. But honestly, it will not stand the test of time, your motivation, right? So that's not what this is about. This video is just to be a mirror for you to look back at yourself. And that's what I hope you get from this. A little bit of honesty with yourself. Look at your situation in the light of day instead of turning a blind eye to it. And I know that if you do feel numb, you feel a little bit, people use the word burnt out, right? You're procrastinating, you're using unhealthy coping mechanisms, then this video is just meant to be a mirror. And the first place I want to start is that if you do have a business, then you probably started it off and you woke up in the morning, you jumped out of bed and you were straight to work. And you had a reason to get up in the morning to work. Whatever that motivation or whatever that sort of why behind you was, it doesn't really matter. Was it providing for your family? Was it proving people wrong? Was it freedom? Was it a little bit of respect? Were you running away from something? Had someone pissed you off? It doesn't really matter. You had a motivation to wake up in the morning, right? And be honest with yourself. You don't want to hide from the fact that you want something, right? And again, that's part of the problem, which we'll get into, but you don't want this to be what other people or society expects from you. What do you want? If you can admit that to yourself, that's a good thing. Stop shying away from it. Even if you think, oh, that's not very good motivator by society standards. I really don't care. But there's 3 signs that you've gone soft or you've lost your hunger in your business, and here's what they are. You procrastinate on anything that would actually grow your business. Sales calls, content, marketing, cold calls, all of these things that would actually grow your business have become a burden. They became heavy on you and you're no longer doing them. You waste your time tweaking things that don't actually matter, changing your logo, changing your website, endlessly planning to take action, but never actually following through. And you just get stuck in a planning phase where you make a plan, don't finish it. Make a plan, don't finish it. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is just busy work that's kind of dressed up as progress. And you might feel that you're tired at the end of the day, but you've not actually moved the needle forward. And you've lost emotional tension. Nothing feels urgent anymore. You just feel fine. And honestly, in my experience, just feeling fine is where businesses can go to die, right? That's exactly what happened to me, and that's what was happening to all of my other clients. So as I mentioned before, to get your hunger back, this isn't just about motivation, this is about you being honest with yourself. And if you answered any of them, or all of them, or two of them, then you are in this state of self-sabotage. And I want you to actually admit that to yourself, because it is the only way you're going to make progress. So look at your own situation. Are you coasting along? Are you working at 30%? Are you using your phone for 10 hours a day? Are you using it for 6 hours a day? Whatever it is, be honest with your own situation right now. And once you can actually see that with clarity, looking in the mirror at yourself and how you're acting in your business, what will happen is that you can actually boil up some feelings of frustration, which is kind of what I'm wanting from this. I want you to feel frustrated with your situation rather than numb to it. And you can use that frustration, those negative feelings, to get the ball moving. So I'm going to give you 4 things that I'd recommend you could try and implement as soon as possible to try and get your hunger back. Now, number 1 is something I've already mentioned, and that is reconnecting with your fire or your why. There was a reason that you used to get up in bed in the morning. I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm going over it again because it's that important. I want you to think about what that was, and I want you to try and reconnect with that ambition, that drive, that proving someone wrong that's pissed you off, proving someone right, providing for your family. I want you to reconnect with that fire and do as much work as possible to think about what motivated you and thinking about it again. Number 2 is that I want you to try and cut out a cheap dopamine source. It doesn't really matter what it is, whether that's scrolling on your phone, cutting down on that, drinking, whether that's elimination or cutting down on that, smoking, something that you're doing that is a cheap dopamine source. I really want you to pay attention as quick as you can and try and eliminate something from your life, because all of this, dealing with your self-sabotage, firstly, it comes down to subtraction, right? I don't want you going away from this video and thinking, I need to do a journal, I need to do meditation. As great as those things are, I do them myself. This is all about subtraction right now. The more things you can eliminate from your life, the more distractions, the more cheap dopaminergic sources that you can eliminate, the more motivation and drive that you will get back. And it's honestly amazing at how quickly that happens. Number 3 is that I want you to do something that is hard daily. And I'm not talking about just in work. Even if over the next week it's nothing to do with your business, I want you to do something that's hard. I don't care if it's a 1 kilometer run, a cold shower, something that you really don't want to do. It doesn't have to be related to your business. I just want you to get used to pushing through a barrier. So pick something. You don't need a full plan for this. You just have to get something done that you don't want to do. Doesn't matter how small it is. And lastly, what you should do is get some accountability and guidance from a coach. Now, I have a coaching program for this specifically, and in all honesty, that's great. The link's in the description. You can check out what I do with people, right? But I just want you to get some accountability and guidance from somewhere, because it will help you kickstart this, especially if someone can be a sort of eyes over your shoulder. You know what it's like working for yourself, where you can be doing things in a room when no one's watching. What you want to do is get someone watching, because it puts the pressure on you to actually get things done and push through those barriers. And I just want to be clear here. If you have lost your hunger and you're self-sabotaging, it doesn't mean you're broken at all. There's nothing wrong with you, right? You've been in a state where this hasn't been the same in the past, right? It's just that you fell into it. And the fix here isn't some perfect laid out strategy. I want you to try and remember who the hell you were when you were building your business and reconnect with that person, because that person that you were wanted it badly enough to act. And that version of yourself is just buried under weeks, months, years of self-sabotage. Now you have some brief steps to go and get your hunger back. Don't click on another video. Don't do anything. Go and deal with them right now. You have no excuse.